Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway. Their pharmacists are here to help, offering a wide range of vaccines including flu, COVID, pneumonia, and RSV immunizations. Visit your local Safeway or schedule online at safeway.com/pharmacy.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.
Feeling that first jacket day? A crisp cold front is nudging into the Front Range. You'll see more clouds and a splash of rain through Thursday in Metro Denver and Colorado Springs. On the western slope, it's still sunny, so soup season will have to wait. I'm Haley May. Coming up, Colorado's safest Democratic congressional seat has been held by the same person for 30 years. Is it time for a change?
I'm an entrepreneur. I'm changing the brand that is Democrat.
Then, how Denver's mayor is changing his homelessness strategy.
So the biggest clue is that he is closing 2 homeless shelter sites.
And it's like college for retirees.
If I were with some people who knew a little bit about black holes, I think I might understand a little.
It's Wednesday, September 17th. Here's the news in Colorado today. If you're a voter in Denver, you've had the same representation in Congress for 30 years, since Bill Clinton was president. Diana DeGette has held the seat all that time, and it's been a while since voters had a competitive alternative in the solidly blue congressional seat. Now, a high-profile Democrat has filed paperwork to challenge DeGette in the primary. CPR's Caitlin Kim is here to tell us who it is. Caitlin, who's trying to unseat DeGette?
CU Regent Wanda James, who's also a cannabis business owner in Denver.
Now, both these women are Democrats, so what does James say she'll bring that's different from DeGette?
So James plans to really push her business and military background and the message that this is an opportunity for change, something that Democratic voters say they're hungry for. Fewer people are registering as Democrats, and several polls have shown support for the party and its members dropping.
This is not a time for us just to have somebody that votes well as a Democrat. It's time for us to change this brand to get people excited again about what it is that Democrats do.
She also says Denver's changed over the 30 years DeGette's been in office.
We have a 35-year-old average age. We are entrepreneurial. We are diverse. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm bringing lived experience to this seat. I'm bringing different ideas, motivation. I'm changing the brand that is Democrat.
She said lived experience, and you mentioned her military background, but what else does she mean by that?
So she founded and runs a cannabis dispensary and has worked to advocate for it and reduce the stigma around marijuana use. John Hickenlooper, when he was governor, named her to a task force that recommended how to regulate marijuana in the state. So she's a respected leader in the business side of cannabis. She's also considered a leader in the Black community in Colorado. Her experience in politics also includes managing a congressional campaign. Governor Jared Polis' first run for Congress in 2008.
Wow, Colorado politics is so interconnected.
Yeah, and she also has this very extensive political Rolodex that she can pull from because of that interconnectedness. She was on Polis' gubernatorial transition team. She worked on the Obama and Harris National Finance Committees. In 2022, she was elected to the CU Board of Regents, which oversees the university system around the state. So voters are familiar with who she is. I have to point out, though, Haley, that challenging an incumbent is not easy. The power of incumbency is a real thing, and it's not like DeGette is unpopular. James will also be facing 2 Gen Z candidates that also want to be the Democratic nominee.
Most recently, James has been in the news because she found herself in the middle of a controversy in her position as regent. The other regents voted to censure her, and we can't get into the whole thing right now, but we will link to an earlier episode on it. Caitlin, how might she explain the situation as she tries to get support for her campaign in Congress?
So, first off, she maintains she still did nothing wrong. She says colleagues were tired of her pushing the university to do more for communities of color. I will say the controversy was related to her dual role as a public official and an entrepreneur. She says if she is elected to Congress, she will fully exit the cannabis business to avoid future conflicts.
Okay, I want to go back to DeGette. She's been in this seat for decades. What does that mean for the people she represents in Denver?
So DeGette is a senior Democrat in Congress, and that is a place that values seniority. She's the ranking member of the Health Subcommittee in a powerful committee, Energy and Commerce. And if Democrats take back the House in the next Congress, that means she would hold the gavel again. You know, she used to be in leadership, part of the whip team, which required good relations with the rest of the caucus, and that means having sway. A new representative for the district, especially one as deeply Democratic as this district around Denver is, means basically starting from square one. Leadership in both parties like to help swing seat members with good committee assignments. That's not always the case for members from solid districts for either party.
Now, this primary that they'll be competing in is still many months away, right?
Yes, that's true. It's not until next spring. So lots of time to see how fundraising goes for all the challengers as well as DeGette. I think something else that I'll be looking out for is endorsements. Again, the House Democratic campaign arm will support DeGette, but it will be interesting to see if any state Democrats break ranks to endorse James or one of the other challengers.
CPR's Washington correspondent Caitlin Kim, thank you.
Thank you, Haley.
Denver Mayor Mike Johnston is learning his strategies on homelessness need to change. Overall, homelessness has actually gone up despite the mayor's success reducing encampments. On yesterday's show, you got a hint of what he plans to change.
The $11 million left is going to be directed toward people facing eviction who are most likely to become homeless.
Now, Denverite's Kyle Harris is back to tell us more. Kyle, what has Denver been doing that's drawing criticism?
The mayor's main focus has been getting people off the streets, out of encampments, into temporary hotel shelters. And he spent a lot of money and a lot of time doing so. Johnston's getting criticized for all of that strategy, including by Governor Polis. Johnston's critics say there are still a ton of people who are using drugs, who are having breakdowns in the streets. The mayor acknowledges this leads to a sense that the city is not safe, even as homicides have fallen faster than in any other city. Meanwhile, others are saying that he's not doing enough to combat things like family homelessness. There have been complaints about long wait lists for services that are being offered. And finally, and this is a big point right now, the mayor's realizing it may be financially untenable at a time when Denver is radically trimming the budget.
Okay, so out of all of these complaints, what changes do you think we can expect?
Well, so the biggest clue is that he is closing 2 homeless shelter sites. One is a former Comfort Inn and the other is a tiny home community. There was even a point where he pledged to open shelters in every Denver neighborhood, and that's definitely never happened. Now, instead of getting as many shelter units open as possible, Johnston's pushing city resources toward more permanent housing and also more intensive case management.
Okay, intensive case management. Break down what that means for me.
So case managers are people who help other folks get connected to services. That could be something as simple as finding a job or using a housing voucher. It could also involve really serious mental health care, addiction treatment, that sort of thing. The city will pay extra to providers who are actually getting folks from shelter into housing, however that needs to happen. And he acknowledges that some folks are going to need really serious wraparound services to stay housed, while others might just need a little help getting out of hard times. He is not alone in thinking about these issues. President Trump has made it clear he wants cities to end housing first policies and funnel people from the streets directly into treatment or jail. Meanwhile, as you shared on an episode last week, Governor Polis thinks other cities like, say, Colorado Springs and Aurora have a better approach to the issue.
Well, I think that focusing on mental health is critical. I mean, I think when they say housing first, sometimes that means even when there's an underlying drug addiction or mental health, you focus on just the housing. It doesn't always work. It doesn't work perhaps even most of the time.
Johnston did say this summer that he's planning to use the criminal justice system to push people into treatment.
So, big picture, Johnston wanted to end street homelessness in Denver by 2027. It's a lofty goal. Is there evidence these changes will get the city any closer?
Well, we're going to have to wait and see. There have been a lot of attempts to end homelessness the government officials have made, and so far that has never really happened. The reality is that getting people into shelter, treatment, permanent housing is extremely expensive. Our city is in a budget crunch, and so while Johnston's shifting money to help people who are most likely to end up on the streets, he's also cutting funding for eviction prevention. And it's important to note that eviction case rates are higher than ever in the city, putting more people at risk of homelessness.
Do all of these changes mean that the mayor is foregoing his original temporary housing solutions altogether?
No, the city's still going to maintain around 900 shelter units. According to the mayor's office, Johnston's temporary housing effort has brought more than 7,000 people into shelter and moved around 6,000 people into permanent housing. If you walk around, you do see fewer tents, fewer camps, particularly around the city center. The mayor is fully aware that despite some of those successes, he still has a lot of work to do.
Denverite's Kyle Harris, thank you.
Thank you.
When you picture retirement, do you see yourself lounging around, or do you plan to continue pursuing your curiosity? Well, Arlo has the story of a University of Denver initiative that started its fall term this week. It gives lifelong learners an option to rediscover their purpose.
It has been nothing but fun for me to plant.
At 80 years old, Janet Kester is one of those people. She still marvels at the world around her, even down to the changing hues of garden flowers.
But it's just that fun of seeing what the plants will do.
She's not just admiring. She's teaching at the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at the University of Denver, or OLLI if you don't want to get your tongue twisted. And that role, she says, fulfills part of her life that she thought she'd lost.
But it absolutely filled a void of intellectual stimulation. That is something I was missing.
OLLI is part of an expanding network of post-secondary education that is targeting what they call the seasoned adult demographic. OLLI is focused on developing learning for the joy of learning. It offers more than 300 no-test, no-homework courses each year across the Denver area. From astronomy and film music to social justice and survival narratives, it is learning for the love of learning. For Janet, it's not just the subject, it's the people. She's in a room full of rich life experience where even the topic of black holes doesn't feel intimidating anymore.
If I were with some people who knew a little bit about black holes, I think I might understand a little.
Lifelong learning isn't just a pastime, it's a health boost. Experts say that staying mentally active supports healthy aging. OLLI co-executive director Laura Uzzle puts it simply.
I think people retire and they get through their short bucket list and wake up and think, okay, what's next? And we know that having a sense of purpose, that having some intellectual stimulation is good for your mental and physical health.
This movement extends across Colorado. CSU in Fort Collins, CU Denver, MSU Denver's Emeritus Scholars Program, even low-cost and free courses through Colorado's Free University and Golden Scholars. One of the most profound benefits of these programs is connection. People who might have drifted into isolation find community, where learning leads to friendship.
I had a woman come up to me once and tell me that OLLI had saved her dad's life. That after her mom had passed away, he was isolated and lacked purpose and direction and got involved with OLLI. And she said the change was remarkable.
Reporting for today's show came from CPR's Jenny Brundeen. Today is your last chance to get entered into a sweepstakes for a luxury trip to the Croatian islands. Seriously, we're giving this away at the link in the show notes. You can enter to win the trip with or without a gift to support the podcast. I'm Haley May. This is CPR News.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway. Their pharmacists are here to help, offering a wide range of vaccines including flu, COVID, pneumonia, and RSV immunizations. Visit your local Safeway or schedule online at safeway.com/pharmacy.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.